House, do you believe?
Tom and I have discussed it, and I've had a chance to review it, and it seems to certainly be in the same vein, and I think Tom can speak for himself, but it looks like to me that that's something that we would be amenable.
Well, and this is a process of work between the House and the Senate. What we did on our work when we were working on 131, we actually took the first language that the Senate had put together, that they come up with some of their ideas, and we laid it down the side of what Representative Cox was, and we took the parts that we thought were good and some of the definitions that they had and referrals to it, but then we added our own to 131. Well, when we were done with 131 and got it passed out of committee, we sent that copy over to the Senate side, and they took part of the stuff that we had in 131 and put it in their bill. So actually this has been an ongoing work between both sides from the start, trying to get to the end result of what we can do to best, like I said before, to best take care of the dogs, but keep the industry that's such a big economic part to the state. And that's what it takes when you got both sides working together. And I think it's a very good measure.
Were you worried whether it went through the Senate? Were you worried about the Senate?
I always worry about the Senate, but in this regard, they did the right thing, and I'm encouraged.
But I mean, on this particular bill, though, did you worry that, and I think especially because the Senate is not weighted as much with rural communities, represented as much as rural.
Well, I didn't have any judge of what would happen in the Senate. I knew there were good people working on it in the Senate, and I was encouraged that they could get it done. They appear to be moving it forward. So.
Cautious.
Yeah. Mr. Pacelli was in the building today. Did he make a call on either of you guys?
I haven't seen him. The only way I did, somebody told me just 5 minutes ago they was here.
Never met the gentleman.
He says that your bill and Senate Bill 113 guts Proposition B. What do you say back to that?
Well, if you call putting some provisions in there that really actually do something to take care of the industry, that actually put some funding to some inspectors that go out here and actually inspect something. Now, my question to him is the implementation of a piece of language that's going to remove the funding because it's going to put people out of business. You got to remember, the funding for inspections on facilities comes from the money that the breeders pay into that facility and for what they pay for license. So if you eliminate your licensed breeders and you eliminate the amount of dogs that are paid, you eliminate the money that goes to inspections. So for whatever dogs you have left, there's no inspection. There's no process of inspection. So how can that be better for the animals that are left here? Even if they're under 30 dogs, if you don't have anybody to inspect them, how does that take place? That's my question to him.
How about veterinarian care? That came up here in his press conference earlier today. What about veterinarian care, where, as the bill reads now, a veterinarian just basically has to walk through a facility where they want the veterinarians to actually examine the dogs? I mean, how much would that slow things down? How much would that get in the way of what you folks want to see?
I certainly don't see anything in our language to suggest that he doesn't examine the dogs. How would you inspect a dog breeding facility and not inspect the dogs? So I think his interpretation of that, our intention is that there be actually more veterinarian care than was prescribed in Proposition B. And I think we provided it.
We provide, in 131, we require that it's 2 personal visual visits or inspections of the facility a year. That requires 2. I visit with veterinarians over this thing in the process of this. I visited with them. I contact him and I ask him different questions, how it worked. And he said, well, okay, if you require 1 personal examination, those individuals from that facility could bring those individuals to their office, have them all cleaned up, all groomed up, bring them to you, you do an inspection of them, fine. They look fine. They take them back out, you don't see the facility, you don't see the conditions that they're in. They told me that they could tell more about a facility and how it was run by 2 visual inspections as they could by 1 hands-on inspection once a year in their office. Now that's the inflection and that's how this thing is taking place. The committee members, myself, Representative Cox and others have visited with the Department of Agriculture, with veterinarians, with the people in the pet industry, in the people that build and design some of these buildings, to find out what is the best for these facilities, what's the best for these animals. And I think if the people that put this thing together did as much work in the last, what we did in the last 2 months, I think we'd come up with some things that could have worked for everybody.
Now that the bill has passed, at least initially in the Senate, what's next for 131? Are you just going to wait until the Senate bill comes to debate, or are you going to debate this pretty soon in the House?
Well, we're not the floor managers.
Yeah.
I don't know. The floor leader will make that decision, but we hope it's pushed ahead, and that's our intention.
So it'll run on 2 tracks.
Yes, that'd be my hope.
Yeah, my opinion.
They said today that they are going to, the Humane Society folks said that their next step is